Wanted to welcome everyone to our usual, well, usually this is a 15-minute business spotlight, but this is a special edition business spotlight because we have Kate Silk back, and I'm really excited to have her back. This is her third appearance with us, and she is going to talk about something that she's really passionate about, and I have my pen and paper all ready to take notes on ingredient label reading and all the hidden toxins in our food and what to look out for. And it is a passion of hers, a passion of mine. So I'm really excited to have her talk about this. So Kate, I'm going to have you just take it away, and then at the end I would love for you to share a little bit more about your practice and what you do and how you help people.
Wonderful. All right, let's get into it. So first off, we're all eating like 80% fruits and vegetables, right? So we don't have to worry too much about the processed food toxins. Let's just start there. That's a good goal to reach for, right? Okay, is 80% fruits and vegetables. Anyway, so if we do have to buy packaged or somewhat processed foods, we're going to talk about what that looks like on an ingredient label. So ideally, you want to have something that has no more than 5 or 6 ingredients on it, and it should all be food. You should understand every word that's on that ingredient label. Another thing about ingredient labels is what I call the order of abundance. So the first ingredient is the most abundant in the product, and the last ingredient is the least amount in the product. So it's the order of abundance. So this way, if salt or oil is like the second or third ingredient, well, then you know that it's heavily laced with oil or salt, right? So that's just how you can understand how much of what's in what. So now we can talk about certain additives, chemicals, and or preservatives. So one thing that I am adamant about is corn. Corn is now everywhere, especially in our gluten-free products. And so many of us eat gluten-free, and when it's gluten-free, we don't pay attention, we don't care, we just buy it, and it's the first ingredient or the first couple ingredients are different various types of corn: white corn, blue corn, yellow corn, and corn should just sadly be stricken from our diet. Since the late 90s, it has totally been destroyed. All corn is GMO. All corn is GMO, even if they say on the packaging label that this is made with non-GMO corn. It's just, GMO is so harmful to us. It contributes to a variety of ailments, all the way down to something as intense as organ failure. So we really need to be mindful of the corn intake that we're having, how we receive it, secondary and tertiary, right? In all these various products, how it comes into, it's in our lives, and we ingest it more than we think. So corn, not good. And we're also going to see these other chemicals or additive preservatives that are actually corn derived. Okay, so second ingredient that we should watch out for is also canola oil. Canola oil, people sometimes sadly buy it and use it for cooking, but it's something that we should stave off. Don't buy it. Make sure it's not in your products. It is a gut liner intestinal irritant. We should stay away from canola oil. Okay, third ingredient, citric acid. Sounds pretty harmless, right? Like citrus or something benign. Well, it's derived from corn, okay? And it's a toxic chemical preservative derived from corn. So we should be mindful of citric acid in our ingredient labels. Another one is also alcohol, especially in tinctures. Like if we wanted to buy almost like a vanilla extract, or if people like to do herbal tinctures, we need to be mindful of alcohol in these, because alcohol, it lessens the effectiveness of the tincture, and it's also made from GMO corn. So let me see, the fifth ingredient is carnitine that we should be wary of. This feeds various Epstein-Barr viruses and other different pathogens in the body. And people say, oh, well, I'm healthy. I'm not sick right now. And that's very true. And God willing, we are all healthy. But how many times have we been sick? And we actually have pathogens just harboring in our bodies, in our tissues, in our organs. It just takes up residence. So we need to be mindful of just having that ingredient not be in our bodies. Another ingredient is maltodextrin. This one's also very popular all over the place. It's in a lot of, chips and things of that nature. It is corn derived. It's in a powder form usually. And it's very dangerous, especially for diabetics, because it's in a powder form. It affects the blood sugar very quickly. And it can also be a component for causing type 2 diabetes. Of course, you would have to have an abundance of this maltodextrin in your diet. But again, harmful. Look out for it on the ingredient labels and stay away from it. So now here's the thing about these ingredient labels is that you have corn this, then you might have citric acid as a preservative, you might have another maltodextrin. So, you're buying something that's labeled organic, but it could have all three of these ingredients in it. And you might think, well, the one is not as severe, and maybe this one's not so bad either. But when you start adding, you got 3 or 4 in one product, and then you have another 3 or 4 in another product. How much are we then consuming of these toxins, right? Okay, so the big clincher that I want to educate you all on is, of course, we know about MSG. We know how bad it is for us, or at least it's resurfaced in a lot of our products. It was stricken from Asian restaurants and a lot of our products in the 90s, and it has resurfaced huge. Okay, my husband is guilty for buying products just because they say organic on it, and he thinks that they're healthy and innocent. And the truth is that the ingredient labels, they are laced with a lot of toxins. So natural flavors are so bad for us because they contain MSG. Natural flavors is in like 95% of packaged products. Okay, and we think, again, it sounds benign and harmless, but it is really bad for us because it's an ingredient. It's a loophole in the FDA. It's an ingredient that contains MSG. It's not MSG itself, so they don't have to tell you that it's MSG, but it contains MSG. So, so another one is, you'll see vanilla flavoring also contains MSG. It's different than saying vanilla extract. Vanilla flavoring, be wary of that. So the MSG is huge. It's also, again, between the MSG and the corn and all this that's spread across these packaged chips and stuff, and crackers, and really can wreak havoc on us. We need to be mindful of that. So, and I just want to touch upon what the natural flavors do to our body, and why they're so evil. Is they hijack our brain and our nervous system into tricking us or craving, wanting us to crave the product more. You remember Pringles, that commercial, once you pop, you can't stop? They had MSG in it, and we want it more and more. And that's why, like, when, back in the 90s and such, when we'd eat at Chinese restaurants, you get hungry hours later, or like an hour or two later after eating it, because you wanted it again and again and again. And this is, of course, before they got rid of the MSG. So that's what MSG does to us. But it works with the neurological system in a really dangerous way, in that it tricks the brain into thinking. I'm sure it can change neural pathways, right? Because we start craving and wanting things differently. So not good for us. So let me just look here, make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I pretty much spoke about all of it. And now you put all of these harmful ingredients, almost at least 1 to 4 of them are located in a lot of ingredients that we're buying that we think are healthy, and that are on the front, what I call the marketing label, which is the front package that we buy. That marketing label might say, like, organic, non-GMO, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But you have to read the ingredient label, and you have to know what you're reading. So please write down all these toxins, become familiar with them, and know their harmful effects, so that when you see 3 or 4 of them on one package, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know and put it all together that these were all so bad. Because you might be thinking you're buying something that's good for you and it's really not.
Wow.
So that's pretty much everything that
I mean, I knew some of this, but like the MSG thing, now I'm so, explains a lot, because it triggered my migraines before that, and now that I haven't been eating as much snacks. I don't eat snacks anymore. I eat like raw nuts, or, like I try not to make those, healthy vegan, snacks. I don't do those anymore, mainly because most of them are very salty, but now it makes sense that you just want to keep eating it and eating it till the bag is done. Anyway, very, very, very interesting. I knew that about the corn, but I didn't know how much they were in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. And you mentioned FDA, which is also, everybody's so, it's not FDA approved. It's not FDA is based on principles that were brought about in the 1950s with better living through chemistry.
Yes.
And it has not really changed that much since then. So that's when the explosion of Twinkies and Drake's this and, all these like Little Debbie and all this stuff came out, TV dinners, because of that better living through chemistry, plastics, stuff in our cosmetics, everything. I mean, and we're still basing regulations on those premises, So this is really eye-opening.
I'm not a fan of the FDA.
Yeah. I mean, whenever it's like, well, it's not FDA approved, I'm like, that's all right. That's okay. They don't really ban that many chemicals. It's like, so you're okay if it's not FDA approved.
Very true.
Yeah. Wow. So this is really great. I'm really glad that you suggested this, so that we, and it's perfect for the beginning of the year when a lot of us are trying to just take control of our lives and really, flourish and empower ourselves, especially as we were talking about prior to this, like, okay, we want to make this year better than last year. Not so much of a stretch to do that, but this is one way that we could really step powerfully into the new year, and take control of our lives, right? So I want to get some questions here. We have some questions. What was the ingredient that was bad when you were a diabetic? That was maltodextrin, right?
Maltodextrin, yeah.
Okay. Yep. That's maltodextrin. And the ingredient associated with Epstein-Barr, that was
carnitine.
Carnitine.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. It's just so I'm going to reply to them. And if anybody has any other questions, just keep on asking. And in the meantime, I want Kate to talk a little bit about her practice. I know she already talked to us about the feng shui, and that, she's a woman of many hats. This is why we flock together.
Yes.
So please tell us everything about. It's very interesting, all the different hats you wear. While I decided to their
Sure.
questions.
Thank you so much. Thanks. At the core of all the hats that I wear, at the core is health and wellness. So feng shui is to better our environment around us. I think the other talk we did, Belinda, was about the health of the home, right? Like construction, like mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and all that stuff, and products, right? Like home products, but that's what we did, right?
Well, we did feng shui and some of that, and then we did one about your journey.
My healing journey.
Yeah, your healing journey.
Right. Okay, so the feng shui was with the construction.
Right.
Okay, right. I'm remembering now. So I'm so sorry.
That's okay. You do a lot of these. I get it.
Right. But the core of it all is wellness and health. Whether it's feng shui, architecture, interior design, food, nutrition, yoga, meditation, energy work, healing, it's the core of everything is how we live our lives and how healthy and good we feel. There are so many people that are chronically ill, and there's are so many people that don't even know how chronically ill they are, but they're symptomatic in so many ways. And there's just, knowledge is power, right? Now we know more. Tonight, we all now know more about some ingredient labels, things that could potentially be making us sick, and we don't want to get sick. So we don't need the FDA's approval for us to have knowledge. And that's about it. So that's what I do in my practice is more or less, I'm a nutritionist, but I'm also a healer. I'm a designer. But the core is all wellness.
Yeah.
The core is all wellness.
Love it. I love it. Oh, I have another question. So how about almond milk with vanilla flavor? Is that bad for you?
Yes.
That's bad. Okay.
Yep.
And it's because that contains MSG, the flavoring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If it said vanilla extract,
Yeah.
that would be fine. Or vanilla bean, that would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because we know what those are, right? We know what vanilla extract and we know what vanilla bean are, but what's vanilla flavoring?
Right. And the vanilla extract shouldn't have alcohol.
Ideally, yes, you don't want to have alcohol because then it's yeah, it cancels out the effectiveness and just that's more specific to I try not to buy the vanilla extract with alcohol. There's ones that you can find that don't have it. But it's more specific if you're taking like herbal tinctures and stuff, it'll cancel out the effectiveness of herbal tinctures. And a lot of companies out there that people tout as being good companies, their tinctures have alcohol in them. So just, again, just be a smart consumer.
Yeah. Now I've seen people make their own vanilla extract, like getting vanilla bean, but I don't know exactly what the medium it's in. It was a clear solution, but I don't know if it was alcohol or like some kind of thin oil or something. I don't know, but I'll have to ask the person that I saw who posted it with.
Yeah, I've never tried to make my own vanilla extract. I've had fresh vanilla bean that I've added to certain foods that I'm making, but I've never tried to make my own. So yeah, let me know.
Yeah, I will. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks interesting. All right, so I think I just get a lot of oh no's over here, and well, MSG gives me headaches, and yeah, me too. And that's why I ever since I stopped having these snacks, I just feel better, and I definitely don't eat the corn anymore, not even tortilla chips or multigrain tortilla chips or anything like that. But I also find that, I don't know, I'm very sensitive now to any kind of sugar. So I also find that if I eat too much corn or rice, even brown rice or sugar, like it affect it, you feel heavy, like if but yeah, because those have high glycemic indexes. So, but anyway, I'm really, really thankful that you opened up our eyes tonight. And I'm sure the people that are on or who are going to watch this replay are going to feel exactly the same or do feel exactly the same. And as always, I thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm sure I'll have you on again because we're like that. We roll that way. But again, I just want to thank you. And I will, if anybody wants to get in touch with Kate, you can friend her on Facebook or leave a comment here. She's on my page, tag her, and will get right on it if you have any questions. Right, Kate?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you again,
everybody.
Yeah, have a good night. And as always, thank you for flourishing with me, Dr. B. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.